What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I'm here today to talk about a movie called Elevation starring Anthony Mackie and Marina Baccarin. Now, this story takes place in a post-apocalyptic world due to creatures randomly appearing on Earth and wiping out most of the population. And the people that did survive were able to because they fled to the mountainous regions of wherever they live, because for some reason, these creatures can't operate at this high level of elevation, hence the name. So we follow Anthony at this compound of survivors along with Marina and some other people who survived, and due to some unfortunate circumstances, he has to flee to another town in order to get some supplies, and Marina and another character that he's cool with go with him. Now, that may sound like spoilers, but this is all in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything, and I'm leaving things out purposely too. So this movie actually released in theaters last November. I didn't hear anything about it, didn't see a trailer, knew absolutely nothing about this film until it hit HBO Max over the weekend. And the only reason I knew about it on HBO Max is because it was trending. Apparently a lot of people have been watching this movie and talking about it, even wanting a sequel. So I figured I'd watch it. Anthony Mackie's my guy, and I just love seeing movies like this. So with all out the way, what about the movie? I really enjoyed it. Now, I'm going to start by saying that this movie isn't anything that you haven't seen before. In fact, as I was watching, it reminded me of a lot of movies that I have seen. So I want to set the tone with those expectations so you don't go in thinking this movie is just brand new. But I just like that it's something that we are familiar with and adds its own twist on the lore, because there are a lot of things that got more and more intriguing as you go on the journey with these characters. This is a perfect sci-fi thriller to pop you a big bag of popcorn, get some drinks, cut the lights off, and just enjoy, because it is a good time. I think all of the performances are solid enough to keep you engaged. Everybody gives a very heartfelt and emotional performance to really feel each character out, whether it be sadness, anger, happiness. Everybody plays to that emotion pretty strongly, and it's believable. And also, I'm a fan of movies that have a journey in it, and it's even better when it's a dangerous journey. This movie does not lack on that. There are plenty of tension-building moments when they're out on a journey having to deal with these creatures. And while they're dealing with these creatures, you start to learn more and more about them, which I think is cool, because you never get an expositional dump as to where the creatures came from, or just a flat out explanation as to how they work. You hear it through conversation as the characters are trying to evade them and hide, and little things get mentioned here and there that give you an exact idea of how they work. And I think that that was a great thing when you present something that you're making a twist on. And the VFX are done pretty well. Of course, there are a few shots that are kind of spotty, but for the most part, they're good enough to keep me engaged in the movie, and they never really take me out of it. And I love the balance between horror and action. You know, I feel like it's a pretty equal plate. In a movie like this that has to do with deadly creatures, I definitely think that that's an important line to walk, and I think they did it really, really well. Again, there were a lot of scenes that I was on the edge of my seat wondering how the heck are they gonna get out of this situation based on how these creatures move and the circumstances they're in. Especially when you learn how these creatures hunt for folks. It makes it even scarier. And one really big thing that I enjoyed about the film is the camera movement. There are a lot of great steady shots that put you right there with the characters, whether it be with a steady cam and the cameraman is running with them, or using drone shots to create a kind of video game-like quality to some of the chase scenes. And it added to the tension, the fear, and you could like feel the exhaustion with the characters, the way the camera moved, because there are a lot of one takes where you see characters running from things and dodging, jumping over rocks and going inside of buildings that keep it in one track. I thought that was done excellently. And by the time I got to the end of the movie, I was right along with those people who want a sequel, because I really want to see where this goes next, because they keep the promise of what they've been building on in the entire movie, and it gives you that, but you think that that's it, and then they present one more thing that makes your mind kind of go, now I wonder what this is about. And they even have a post-credit scene teasing a sequel, so I don't know if they're gonna make one, but I'm gonna tell you one thing: if they do, I will be watching that thing, probably in theaters, because like I said, I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna stop there. If you're into sci-fi action thrillers, this is definitely one for you, especially if you like a good creature feature. And again, not saying that this is the greatest thing ever or the worst thing ever. I just know that I was thoroughly enjoyed, and for me, that's what film is about. So if you've seen the film, let me know in the comments and tell me what you thought about the ending, and do you want to see a sequel? And of course, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, Thank you, and until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.